Autumn's Embrace, Chapter 9. The first snow had come and gone, leaving a thin blanket of white across Willow Creek, transforming the town into a picturesque winter wonderland. The frosty mornings were quiet, with the sound of footsteps crunching on the snow and the faint scent of wood smoke drifting from chimneys. For Elliot, the arrival of winter brought a new sense of clarity, as though the cold air had sharpened his mind and forced him to finally confront the decisions he had been avoiding. His walks into town were slower now, his footsteps cautious on the icy streets. But despite the change in the season, there was a warmth in Willow Creek that no amount of snow could cover. The small town seemed to glow under its blanket of white, the houses and shops decorated for the holidays with twinkling lights hanging from eaves and wreaths adorning front doors. It was the kind of place that felt like a holiday card come to life, and as Elliot walked through it each day, he could help but feel a sense of peace settle over him. But even as he enjoyed the beauty of the season, the weight of the decision still pressed down on him. The job offer from New York had not gone away, and his former boss had made it clear that the position was his if he wanted it. The pull of the city, the excitement, the fast pace, it still called to him, a reminder of the life he had once lived and thrived in. Yet every time he thought about packing up and leaving, something stopped him. And that something, no, that someone, was Lily. Their time together had become more frequent since the night of the first snowfall. They would meet for coffee at the cafe, walk through town as the snow fell around them, or simply sit in the warmth of his farmhouse, talking about everything and nothing. It was easy with her, comfortable, and yet beneath the comfort, there was something more, a quiet understanding that whatever was happening between them was important, something neither of them wanted to rush. One afternoon, after a particularly heavy snowfall, Elliot found himself walking toward the school where Lily taught. The air was crisp and cold, his breath forming small clouds in front of him as he made his way through the town square. The sound of children's laughter carried on the wind as he neared the school, and as he approached he spotted Lily outside, her cheeks flushed from the cold as she stood with a group of students, helping them build snowmen in the schoolyard. She was bundled up in her usual coat and scarf, her brown hair peeking out from beneath a woolen hat, and as always there was a bright smile on her face as she knelt down to help one of the younger children pack the snow into shape. Elliot stopped for a moment watching her, his heart swelling with a mix of admiration and something deeper, something he hadn't allowed himself to fully name yet. Lily spotted him, her smile widening as she stood and waved him over. "Elliot, what are you doing here?" He grinned, brushing some snow from his shoulders as he approached. "Thought I'd stop by and see if you needed any help with the snowmen." Lily laughed, shaking her head. "I think we've got it under control. These kids are pros." Elliot glanced at the children who were busy rolling large snowballs across the yard, their laughter echoing through the crisp air. "They're doing a pretty good job." "Yeah, they're having the time of their lives," Lily said, her voice warm with affection. "They've been waiting for the first big snow all season." Elliot watched as Lily knelt down again, helping one of the kids place a hat on top of a snowman. There was something so natural, so effortless, about the way she interacted with them. It was clear that she loved her job, that she found joy in these small moments of connection with her students. As the kids finished their snowmen and started to gather their things to head inside, Lily stood up, brushing the snow from her gloves as she turned to Elliot. "Want to go for a walk?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with the suggestion. "I'd love to," he replied, falling into the step beside her as they made their way down the snowy street. They walked in comfortable silence for a while, the sound of their footsteps crunching in the snow, the only noise between them. The town was quieter now, the holiday decorations twinkling in the afternoon light, and Elliot felt a sense of calm settle over him as they walked. This was becoming his favorite part of the day, the time he spent with Lily, where the world seemed to slow down and everything felt right. "You've been quiet lately," Lily said after a while, her tone gentle. "Is everything okay?" Elliot hesitated, knowing that he couldn't avoid keeping the subject. He had been quieter and more thoughtful as he wrestled with the decision that still hung over him like a storm cloud. He didn't want to burden Lily with his uncertainty, but he also knew that he couldn't keep pretending that everything was fine. "I've just been thinking," he said, finally, his voice low, "about the job offer." Lily's expression softened, and she nodded, though she didn't say anything right away. Instead, she stopped walking and turned to face him, her eyes searching his. "Have you made a decision?" she asked, her voice quiet. Elliot looked at her, his heart heavy with the weight of the choice he had to make. He had thought about it endlessly, had weighed the pros and cons, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't shake the feeling that Willow Creek was here where he was meant to be. "I think I have," he said, his voice steady. Lily's gaze flickered with something. Hope, maybe? But she didn't push him. Instead, she waited, giving him the space to say what he needed to say. "I don't want to go back," Elliot admitted, the words finally spilling out. "I thought that job was what I wanted. I thought the city was where I belonged. But being here, being with you, it's changed things. I don't want to leave." Lily's breath caught, and for a moment she looked as though she wasn't sure what to say. Her eyes softened, and a smile slowly spread across her face, one that lit up her entire expression. "You're staying?" Elliot nodded, feeling a weight lift from his shoulders as he said the words, "I'm staying." Lily let out a soft laugh, her eyes shimmering with relief and something else, something that made Elliot's heart swell. "I didn't want to say anything," she admitted, her voice shaky with emotion. "I didn't want to make you feel like you had to stay because of me." Elliot reached out, taking her hands in his, feeling the cold bite of the air against their skin. "I'm staying because this is where I want to be, because I found something here that I didn't even know I was missing." Lily's eyes filled with emotion as she looked up at him, her hands tightening around his. "I'm glad," she whispered, "because I don't think I could have handled it if you left." Elliot smiled, his heart full as he pulled her closer, wrapping his arms around her. The world seemed to fade away in that moment. The cold air, the snow, the distant sounds of the town, all of it disappeared as he held her, feeling the warmth of her body against his. It felt right. Everything about this moment, about his decision, felt right. They stood there for a long time, wrapped in each other's arms, as the snow fell softly around them. It was a quiet, intimate moment, and as Elliot held Lily close, he realized that he had finally found what he had been searching for all along. This was home. After a while, they pulled apart, though their hands remained intertwined as they continued their walk through the town. The weight of the decision that had hung over Elliot for so long had lifted, and in its place was a sense of peace, of certainty. He had made the right choice. As they walked, Lily glanced up at him, her eyes bright with happiness. "So," she said, her voice teasing, "what are we going to do with all this time we have now that you're staying?" Elliot chuckled, squeezing her hand gently. "I guess we'll have to figure that out together." Lily smiled, leaning into him as they continued down the snowy street, their footsteps in sync. "I like the sound of that." And as they walked through the town, the holiday lights twinkling above them, and the snow crunching beneath their feet, Elliot felt a warmth spread through him that had nothing to do with the cold. For the first time in a long time, everything felt right. And he knew that no matter what the future held, he was exactly where he was meant to be. With Lily, in Willow Creek, in the quiet beauty of a life he had never expected, but now couldn't imagine living without. If you like this chapter, please leave a like. Don't forget to comment, share, and follow, and stay tuned for Chapter 10 of Autumn's Embrace.